Hey guys, let's do more box office, shall we? Box office numbers. Just like last week I did about the 80s, we are going to do the 10 worst 1990s box office bombs that were actually great movies. There's only 10, unlike the 80s had, 15? So, in the 90s we had what? Bill Clinton as President of the United States. Friends was like the most popular show on television. James Cameron's movie Titanic came out in 97, became the highest grossing film of all time. Until I think he broke his own record with Avatar, and now Star Wars is. But anyway, I don't know, they say 90s was like the great decade or something with movies and music, as well as other stuff. So, anyway, so what do you think makes a movie a box office flop or like a bomb or just? I know I kind of asked a similar question with the 80s films, but see, in the 90s, I worked pretty much in the 90s from 92 to 1999. I worked in the movie theater, so I saw a lot of films, a lot of good ones. So I saw a lot of films sell out that were very popular, like Lion King, Forrest Gump. It took me 6 months to see Forrest Gump, guys. Literally. It sold out almost that long. But still, there's a movie that that we got at the theater. I may have told this story before, but I want to tell it again. So, the movie Scream. Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox were in it. Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich, Rose McGowan. Anyway, my theater where I worked, we got 2 prints of that film. Well, the first week, that movie did hardly any business. So for the second week, we lost the print, and then it started selling out. So Scream started off not being a high box office success, at least the first week. The second week, we had to interlock one print, and this is when it was on film, not digital like it is today. Use one film and put it on 2 screens, on 2 auditoriums. I never did a interlock, working in projection, but I've seen it. I mean, I saw it run, because it's one print threaded on 2 projectors, and you had to have 2 people up there. You had to push, 2 people had to, one person on each projector push start at the same time and everything, or else the film would break. I mean, had to be perfect, orchestrated, perfect in order for it to work. So, I never did that, but I did work there a few times when we had to do that on some movies, and Scream was one of them. So I think word of mouth is definitely a source of advertising. Could be probably the best. Not just, the trailers on TV and radio, they help, but it also really helps from people who see it and then say, hey, you guys see this movie, it's really good. Because especially with people that you know. Kind of similar to what I said last week. But anyway, so the 90s, the first 2 movies, see, out of the 10, I've seen 6. And the first 2 movies were actually released on the same day. I don't know if it was just a bad weekend for the box office, but 2 movies on the same day, same year. I can't explain it. Cannot explain it. So, the first one is great cast. You know, it has Dustin Hoffman, Gina Davis, Andy Garcia, Joan Cusack, in a movie called Hero. It was released on October 2nd, 1992, and its budget was $42 million, and it only grossed $19.5 million. Whoa. So, you know, if you don't know what Hero was, I've seen it once. I barely remember it, so I saw it like back in 93, 94, something like that, whenever it came out on DVD. I think it's about the only time I did see it. But IMDb says this: a not-so-nice man rescues passengers from a crashed airliner, only to see someone else take credit. So that would kind of make me mad. You know, I mean, like, dude, I helped, and I'm not getting any credit. But that's Hero for you. Some of these movies have great cast, so that this shows you that it doesn't matter who's in the film. It's just, I guess it's really based on storyline whether people go see it or not. Because you got Oscar winners right there in that film, and Oscar nominees if they didn't win. So winning an Oscar to me doesn't mean crap to see a movie. It's great they got the recognition, but, you know, there's a lot of performances that I think that they should have won, that people should have won or been nominated for an Oscar, and they didn't get nominated or win the Oscar. So it shouldn't be about that. I think actors shouldn't base their credentials or their career, gotta win that Oscar. They shouldn't do that. So that was number 10. Number 9, released on the same day again, October 2nd, 1992. Great cast, a large cast. I'm only mentioning 3. Has Al Pacino, Jack Lemmon, and Alec Baldwin. As I said, many other people are in it. Future Oscar winners are also in it. So, Glengarry Glen Ross. Its budget was $12 million. It grossed 10. To me, I mean, yeah, it didn't make its money back, but, you know, it got close. It wasn't like Hero, where it missed it by, like, half. It made less than half. But, hey, so 10, 12, you know, you still got to make up the money, so it's still a flop, but still. I think, I never saw it, but I think it was on TV a few times, and I noticed it was on. I just never watched it. Because when you see movies on TV, especially if it's a theatrical release, they cut things out. And there's one movie, I don't know how they can even air it on TV, but they've done it. And it's like, over half the movie has to be cut out, and I don't understand how that should just be just strictly streaming now, or just get on DVD. And that's Boogie Nights. I just don't know. I don't understand how they can put that on TV, but they've done it. Okay. Anyway, Glengarry Glen Ross is about an examination of the machinations behind the scenes at a real estate office. Cats. Anyway. I can't really say much. I mean, this one does actually kind of look interesting. So I wouldn't mind seeing this one. So I might. The next one I have not seen. And this one came out in October as well, in a different year. October 7th, 1994. Has, no. I kind of messed up on my, here we go, sorry. Scratch that, but it's still October. October 5th, 1990. It's a movie done by the Coen brothers. And it has Gabriel Byrne and Albert Finney. I think with some other people in it as well. But it's Miller's Crossing. Budget was $14 million. It only grossed $5 million. So, Coen Brothers, I think this was more like an independent film. But even being an independent film, that's pretty of a high budget. So, but, Tom Reagan, an advisor to a Prohibition-era crime boss, tries to keep the peace between warring mobs, but gets caught in divided loyalties. So, there we go. John Turturro is also in it, Marcia Gay Harden. Just to list a few other ones. If you know who they are and if you like them. This is, okay, yeah, that Miller's Crossing, that's all I can really say about that one. I don't know much more about that one. Now, the one that was released on October 7th, 1994. This one actually did win 2 Oscars. And it's directed by Tim Burton. Has Johnny Depp in it, of course, because, Johnny and Tim are great friends. But it's Ed Wood. Martin Landau won an Oscar for his role. He played Bela Lugosi. And it also won an Oscar for Best Makeup. I have not seen Ed Wood. I did watch the Oscars of that year when it won, but I never saw the movie. Its budget was $18 million, and it grossed only $5 million. So, if you noticed a little bit of a theme for the first 4 movies I talked about, they were all released in October. Making me think that October is really not a good movie to see movies. At least back in the 90s it wasn't, because that's 4 movies in October that were on this list of the 90s. So that's kind of, anyway. But Ed Wood, it's ambitious but troubled movie director Edward D. Wood Jr. tries his best to fulfill his dream despite the lack of talent. I haven't seen any of, I think, based or inspired by true events, true story, whatever, I don't know. I haven't seen any of Ed Wood's movies, I don't think. So, Sarah Jessica Parker is also in it. Patricia Arquette. Bill Murray. Other people you would know that I'm just not going to list. So, it's, some of these movies, they have great casts. So, it's really, Ed Wood was filmed in black and white. That could have been a factor. Some people may, being in the 90s, why do you want to see a black and white film? It should be color, right? Well, not that long ago, a movie based on like a silent era type movie called The Artist won Best Picture several years ago for Oscars. So, I don't know. Sometimes filming a movie in black and white makes it a little bit better than just always seeing something in color. Have it in black and white to just make it a little bit different than the norm. Back in the day, it was all black and white, so color was out of the norm. But see, now color is the norm, so I don't know. This next movie, to me, is probably the best movie on this list. And I own it. I saw it in the theater, seen it a few times, and it's different. It's a science fiction movie, so you really have to, like science fiction and fantasy. If you don't like those, then you may not like this film. And it's a dark film, but it's not like, it's like filmed in a lot of black. It's not like it's a dark film as in subject wise. It's literally dark. A lot of blacks. Like black and grays and whites but it's filmed in color. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. So, 1998, Dark City came out. Came out in February 27th of 98. Has Rufus Sewell in it. Kiefer Sutherland, Jennifer Connelly, and William Hurt. The late William Hurt. Um, its budget was 27 million and it only grossed 14 million. But it's really a good film. It really is. It's a man struggles with memories of his past, which include a wife he cannot remember and a nightmarish world no one else ever seems to wake up from. It's different. It's a really different film. It really is. I like it. I don't, and believe it or not, I don't know which one it is, but when Siskel and Ebert was still alive and they were doing their show, one of them really liked this film. It was like one of their favorites of that year. And it's really, and you wouldn't think that they would like that film as much as they did, because it just didn't seem like their type of film. I don't know. Being a movie critic, I don't know what type of films, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It just didn't seem like it would be their type of film. But even though I don't know what their type of film was, since they're being a film critic, they watch like every single film ever. Probably in the some wish that they hadn't. But Dark City, that's one I would highly recommend. If you haven't seen it, see it. I'm quite sure it's streaming somewhere. Actually, I can tell you right now. Let's see if it's streaming anywhere. I mean, you can get it on Prime Video, but you gotta pay for it. That looks like that's about it. Could be on other ones that's not listed on IMDb, because sometimes IMDb lists where you can see it, but not this case. I own like the special edition or whatever, because it's it's got like at the very end, it reveals something, and I'm like, oh my gosh. There's like a twist at the very end, like I last seen as it's like credits are about to roll, and you're like, oh my god. It's a surprise ending, Anyway, this next one, a little bit on the fun side, but I am going to tell a story. And when I kind of rehearsed this part, I cried, so bear with me if I kind of get a little bit teary-eyed, because it's really cool. But anyway, let's get to the technical parts first, though, before I get to the story. This next one definitely did not do very well at the box office. It's a little bit of a comedy, horror type movie, but it's a fun movie. It is a fun movie. And it is rated R, which is weird. But anyway, it's a fun movie. I liked it. I saw it in the theater. I need to see it again just to refresh my memory, but I know I liked it. I didn't think it was all that bad. July 19th, 1996, a Peter Jackson movie was released, and it was called Frighteners. Michael J. Fox, John Astin, and Dee Wallace, as well as some other people in the film you guys may know. And, that movie came out. Its budget was $30 million, and it only grossed 16 million. So it was okay. But I thought it did better. I didn't expect it to probably make its full budget back, but I thought it did better than it did. After a tragic car accident that kills his wife, a man discovers he can communicate with the dead to con people. However, when a demonic spirit appears, he may be the only one who can stop it from killing the living and the dead. How can you kill the dead? Oh, well, there's so many movies on that. So, I'm not really sure why this is rated R, though. I thought definitely PG-13, but rated R? I don't know. Anyway, I thought it would be a little bit more kid-friendly. I don't know. The story, though, it has to deal with Dee Wallace. And Dee Wallace has a TikTok. And you can listen to her TikTok on this if you need to. Because she talks about a time she did this or that on a certain movie set. She talks about E.T. and Cujo. But the one she talks about, the Frighteners, it really did make me emotional. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, this really, you know, um, it makes me appreciate and respect. I have a new found respect for Peter Jackson, pretty much, let's say. And if you don't get down, I don't care. Shut up. Not while I'm working. You want to do this? Come here, crazy cat. So yeah, this also shows that people in Hollywood aren't all just, you know, self-absorbed and all about them. That Peter Jackson will take care of his actors, the people that work, you know, that are in the films with him, or that work for him in his films, whatever. So, Dee Wallace, in the mid-90s, you know, when she was filming this, you know, it came out in 96, of course, and her husband, Peter Jackson makes pretty much all his films in Australia. So that's where she was filming the movie. She got word that her husband collapsed. Just in case if you don't know who her husband is, his name, I believe, let me pull this up really quick. He was in The Howling. He played her husband in The Howling. And she talks about how she talks about how that happened, how he got cast, because she kind of tricked the director on that one. Like, yeah, go ahead. But anyway, Christopher Stone. And that is pretty much, she has like one child, and that is by him. So, because they were married from 1980 to 95 till his death. Pretty much. So while filming, and now that I kind of gave that away. But while filming, he collapsed. She went home. You know, Peter Jackson told her to go home, take care of business. She went home, made sure her husband was fine, everything was okay. So she went back to Australia to resume filming, to resume work. A few days later, she got a call saying he's pretty much died. As I said, TikTok, watch her TikTok. So she flew back. So once again, Peter Jackson said, look, just, this is your family, you know, go take care of family. This is just a movie. Go take care of your family. So she went home, took care of, you know, the death of her husband, you know, funeral and all that. So, and then what she did was she came back to Australia this time with her daughter and like someone else, like a nanny or someone else to help her out, I guess, you know, with the daughter, I think. I don't know. But anyway, so she came back. Peter Jackson pretty much told her, I did not expect to see you back. So I don't know if he was thinking about recasting her or just taking that character out of the movie. I don't know. But, so she finished the film. She finished filming. And once she was done, Peter Jackson said, just, you know, go to the accountant and, you know, take care of your you know, your flights. So, so she went to the accountant and said, hey, I'm here to square up and, you know, just take care of, you know, my flights, you know. And what she did, the accountant said, you've been already taken care of. Peter Jackson will pay for all your stuff. Will pay for your flights and everything, that he's taking care of you. And that right there was like, oh my gosh, that is so nice of Peter Jackson. You know, this is before his Lord of the Rings, and this was before his Oscar win, and, you know, it just shows what kind of guy he is. You know, he was a really nice guy. So people in Hollywood, there are some, like Peter Jackson, that, you know, I think that even made her, like, just break down, that she was, like, he did that for her. That was really nice of him. And so I have a new respect for Peter Jackson. just because of that right there, just because of what I learned off of just a few minute TikTok video from Dee Wallace. You know, if you don't know who she is, the Howling, she played E.T.'s mom, or Drew Barry's Drew Barrymore's mom in E.T. She's been in a lot of stuff. Cujo, and list some movies that she was in. So, but yeah, that really hit a nerve with me, and I'm just really glad that he did that, because that was really nice. He didn't have to do that, and he did it. It was great. All right, that was number 5. Okay, let's see here. Next, number 4, a 1999 film. This one was a little bit on the funny side. It's got Ben Stiller, Janine Garofalo, William H. Macy, and Hank Azaria, as well as some other people in it. It came out on August 6th of 1999, called Mystery Men. This one was just a goofball movie, and the budget was, to me, the budget was $68 million, and it only earned $29 million. Wow. So, yeah, let's see. How about this? A group of inept amateur superheroes must try to save the day when a supervillain threatens to destroy a major superhero and the city. The best part is the bowler, you know, the bowling ball, dude. That was the best. I love the bowling ball. And I actually saw that bowling ball down the street at the bowling alley one year. Or one that was just like it, you know, the skull inside the bowling ball. That was just really cool. But Mystery Men, it was just, that's a fun movie. You don't go into that movie thinking, is it going to be like a Marvel movie? This is literally a fun movie. So just go in there, throw out all reality or all just everything you know, just have a good time and just watch it. And just, if you haven't seen it, it's just a fun movie. So you can't go in there serious. It's a fun movie. Oh gosh. Number 3. I only listed one person because it's a summer movie, and this is pretty much the only summer movie, well no, besides Frighteners. This is like the only summer movie on this list, looks like. But starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and coming out on June 6th of 1993, The Last Action Hero. Its budget was $85 million, and it grossed only 50. But 85 right now so far is the highest budget movie so far, but the number 1 movie blows it out of the water. The Last Action Hero. With the help of a magic ticket, a young movie fan is transported into the fictional world of his favorite action movie character, which would be Arnold. Hey, if I could be like a little time travel thing, wow, I don't know, transported into another, like a fictional world, I would have to get back with you on that one. If you could be transported into a fictional world, where would you want to go? I would have to think on that one. Fictional world. Dark City would be one. Because, woof, that would be weird. But that would be like a backup one. If you knock my camera over, cat, I'll be filming. Get down. Come here. You want to hear? Oh, here. Come say hi. Come say hi. So I'm the troublemaker of these videos. I'm the one that wants to be in the camera. Say hello. Okay. Booger. There. You had your clothes up. Go talk to Mr. DeMille. Last Action Hero. 2 more. Yeah. I've seen The Last Action Hero, but it's been a while, and I know I can watch it off of streaming, one of the apps, so I can always refresh my memory anytime. I just don't remember that one too much. So, I just know it didn't. It obviously didn't do well at the box office. I kind of knew that to begin with. The next one, oh boy, this is kind of based on a person. Andy Kaufman, actually. Starring Jim Carrey and Danny DeVito. Man on the Moon, released on December 22nd, 1999. Its budget was $82 million, and it only earned $34 million. Jim Carrey won a Golden Globe for his performance for that film. And I think he had a little attitude, I'll say. He wasn't nominated for an Oscar. He was totally, completely overlooked over the Oscar nomination for that film. I don't know who all was nominated that year, but he was not. He had a little attitude, and then... But anyway, I think if he was going to win an Oscar, it probably would have been for this film. I have not seen it. I do want to, but it just, it's the life and career of legendary comedian Andy Kaufman. So, as I pretty much said, it's about Andy Kaufman. About his stand-up and from his time on the show Taxi. So, Jim Carrey, he's actually become, at first, 94 or whatever, mid-90s, or mid-90s, it was Ace Ventura, Pet Detective acting all crazy. And there's even a movie that I found of his that was very good, and if you haven't seen it, you've got to see it, even though it's kind of selected of one, or said it's a low, I think, box office earner. It's like one of the worst of his in box office, but that doesn't mean anything, because some didn't do get a box office. This shows us, doesn't really mean that they're bad movies. It's just people didn't want to go see them or spend the money in the theater. Could be that too. But The Majestic. If you haven't seen The Majestic with Jim Carrey, you need to see that, because that's a good film. A guy at work where he suggested it. He let me borrow his copy. I watched it. I loved it. I ended up buying it myself, so I own it. It's, Jim Carrey has some of these movies that I was like, I don't... I've seen most, but not all. And I think some of the ones I actually skipped are the ones I think I should have seen. A.k.a. Man on the Moon. But anyway. This next one, the number one, this is actually, I think, pretty much said the biggest flop ever, like, of all time. But y'all, this is box office wise. I did see this in the theater, so I was part of its gross money earning. But this is definitely, you've got to be this action adventure history type movie, and it has Antonio Banderas in it. August 27, 1999, The 13th Warrior was released. Its budget, this was a very high budget film, so they really thought highly of this, I think. Budget was $160 million, and it only grossed $32 million. So yeah, it did not do well at all at the box office, but it is very good. It's like probably my second favorite on this list. Very good film. You just, let me just read about it. If you like Braveheart and those type of films, you'll like this one. A man, having fallen in love with the wrong woman, is sent by the Sultan himself on a diplomatic mission to a distant land as an ambassador. Stopping at a Viking village port to restock on supplies, he finds himself unwittingly embroiled in a quest to banish a mysterious threat in a distant Viking land. So if you like those type of films where they use swords, stuff like arrows and stuff like that, there you go. So, but I would highly recommend 13th Warrior if you haven't seen it. Dark City if you haven't seen it. The Frighteners, fun movie. Mystery Men, that's another fun one. Just, some of these you have to go in, just like you want to have fun. More on the serious side ones, maybe Glengarry, Glen Ross, Miller's Crossing, some of those. 4 of those I haven't seen, 6 of these I have, so maybe I'll catch up on the 4. Or maybe I'll watch at least some of them. Anyway, those are the 10 worst 1990s box office bombs that were actually great films. I'm quite sure there are other films in the 90s that didn't do well, but these are the worst. So, but they're good movies. So maybe I need to do the worst movies of the decades. Should I do the worst? Maybe that's coming up next week. Who knows? I will decide in the next day or two. Maybe today. What is it going to be? Anyway, thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends about me. About this crazy redhead. But anyway, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next week. And that cat, her name is Cookie. She says bye, of course.